welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do all of the palettes that I would like to use during the summer, or my best summer palettes in my collection. I just gathered all of these up right now. There's a few in here that are Colourpop palettes that I have rearranged, so a lot of them you probably think, well, that's not a summer palette, but as soon as you see the color story I think you'll realize why I'm picking it for a summer palette. But yeah, I'm hoping to be able to use these palettes over the next 3 months. I did this for spring and I thought it was fun, so I wanted to do it for the summer, and I might do it for autumn as well. So yeah, let's get into it. There's no particular order or ranking or anything like that. I just want to show you all the palettes that I want to wear for this summer, why I like them for the summer and whatnot. So let's get started. All right, first one's first. I will actually talk about this one. This one's on my eyes today. I've already done a video on this. This is from GlossGods and it is their newest palette, What's Your Power? And I really like this palette. I mean, at the time that I'm filming this, because I'm filming this a little bit ahead of time, this is the only one look that I've done. But by the time you see the video, I would have done multiple looks, and this is really stunning palette, and it's so summery. How could I not pick this for a summer palette? I mean, it's kind of like a rainbow palette, but not a rainbow palette. It has all these gorgeous, bright greens and blues, and then it has these oranges, and it's just really, really beautiful palette. So yeah, this one, obviously, I had to include it. It's a new palette for me, but it, for me, is going to be one of my summer palettes, and I very much enjoy it. Next up is from Alter Ego. I've got the Canyon. I honestly feel like this is a really good summer palette. It's a little bit autumnal, but I don't really think so. I mean, some people might want to just wear this in the autumn fall and that's it, because obviously it's very, in terms of the leaves falling, you could, you have all these rustic oranges, but I kind of like those in the summer. And I think they give a, if you've got a really nice, beautiful, glowy skin and tan, and I don't know, everyone looks good in the summer, right? We all look really good and glowy and fresh most of the time, and I think this is a really nice palette. Maybe not a day palette, but it could be a beautiful evening palette. I don't know, I just really like these colors for the summer. So it is somewhat of a neutral, obviously leaning more, warm tone, but I think it's perfect for the summer, and I really love the quality, and I really want to use it because I haven't used it in a while. All right, next up here is when we get into some of my Colourpop palettes that I've rearranged. I am going to pull the Baby Got Peach. I think I had this in my other one too. This one definitely leans more summer for me. I do have the pop of purple, but the only time I feel like this palette would really make sense is summer, and again, it's that warm tone, that, I don't know, really warm, rustic oranges, and I kind of like that for the summer. And then you have the little purples to have a little bit of color. So this one I'm hoping to use at some point this summer. And then I've got the Main Squeeze. So I've changed this. Mine actually has a lot more gold in it now. I kind of didn't really want all of my Colourpop monochromatic palettes to be monochromatic anymore. So that was my goal when I rearranged them. And I think this would be a really fun summer palette because you do have that pop of rich gold with the red, and then you've got a little bit more of the pinks. I don't know, I haven't played around with it yet, but I'm really excited to, and I think it would be, again, a lovely, rich, warm tone color story for the summer, which I think for me, I think of summer like heat, and you want something warm. So this one I'm excited to pull actually for the summer. Again, I've got another Colourpop. This is just my luck, but looks very different. Actually, I don't even have one green in here. This is what it looks like. And again, it's got that sort of those gold and those rustic shades, but it has some mauve and it has a little bit of yellow. So it's kind of an interesting color story. I haven't played around with it yet, but I think summer would be the perfect time to do that. I think it's a little bit too deep for spring. And I mean, I don't think it is autumnal, and I don't think it's really winter either. So I think this one will be perfect for the summer as well. So again, I'm really excited to play around with these. I'm gonna have to do some sort of project just so I can touch them all because I've done a lot of them. All right, let's do something that's not Colourpop for a little bit of a change. I've got my NARS Afterglow palette, and this to me, I mean, this is just a summer palette for me. I really love this palette. I'm actually really close to hitting pan in this, so maybe this summer I can potentially hit pan in it finally. It's a beautiful palette. It has the pop of pink. And again, it's a neutral palette, more leaning on, you know, those rich, warmer tones, and I think that just always works in the summer for me. So really love this palette and I want to use it this summer. All right, let's go back to Colourpop. This one I haven't changed. This is the Miss Bliss. I have not changed this one. I think this is the only monochromatic palette that I have yet to change any of the shades. I just like this palette. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a great spring palette, but I also think it's a great summer palette. It's light and airy, and in the summer, maybe you don't want to wear a lot of makeup. This is the perfect balance for me because on those days where I am outside sweating a lot, but I want a little peachy tone, this is perfect. I love this palette. So I will always want to use this in the spring, summer, and yeah, it's just not a winter, autumn palette for me. So these are the only moments that I really get to enjoy it. And last year I really went off. I went off so hard on warm tones and peaches, and those were my favorite, and I'm getting back to it. I like them again. I like all of them actually. I think I'm finally figuring out I like them all. So I really like this. So yeah, I want to use it in the summer. Okay, this one I pulled from my spring palettes, but it's definitely a summer palette as well, and it is the Nomad Cartagena Magica palette. I just love this palette. Again, if you want something a little bit lighter on your lids, then this is the way to go. It's still got those warm, rich tones, but it's not as deep as some of those other ones that I've showed you. It kind of leans more like the Miss Bliss, where it's you can keep a light, beautiful, just one and done, maybe shimmer on the lids, and it's really stunning. And out of the Nomad formula, like the palettes that I have, this is the only one that's really held its, you know, true potential. It hasn't gone bad on me in terms of getting hard pan or not really like working. This one actually has a beautiful formula, and I wish all of the palettes were like this. This is definitely by far my favorite, not only just color story wise, but just the way it performs. I love the shimmers. I think they're stunning, and they're not super dry and stiff like some of those Nomad ones are. And I don't get hard pan on this so far, so I really like it. All right, another one that I had in my spring video is the Summer in Saint-Tropez. I mean, it's in the name, it's Summer in Saint-Tropez. How could I not pull this for the summer? You do have a lot of beautiful shades in this palette. I think this is definitely my favorite beige cosmetic palette that I own. I just think it's a lot of fun, and the shimmers are outstanding, absolutely beautiful, and you know, you can't really go wrong. You could do a beautiful sunset look with this. You've got all of the shades, and they do perform beautifully. They pop on the lids, and then the shimmers are absolutely stunning. So yeah, I can't fault this palette, only that I just don't really care for these four in the corner there, but I understand why they're there, and obviously you do use them occasionally. Like I can dip into the red, do the sunset look, and it makes sense. Like the blue, the pop of blue, like if you want to do a blue liner or just, you know, have a bold blue on the lids, it's a beautiful shade and it works great. So this is a great palette, and obviously it's in the name. I have to pull it for the summer. All right, what we're gonna go to? Let's go to, I've got more Colourpops here that I've rearranged. This one I haven't though. This is another one where I have not rearranged it. It's the California Love from Colourpop. I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. It's a neutral palette, but I think it works beautifully. The formula is great in this palette. This is like their really good formula in my opinion compared to some of the other ones that I have. It's just nice to be able to like figure out when they do it well and when they don't do it well, and this is a beautiful formula. It's a very underrated palette. I feel like not many people really talk about this palette or have ever talked about it, but I think it's a beautiful palette. But again, it's kind of a boring palette if you don't really like neutrals, but it leans into that warm tone, sort of rich feeling that I feel works great for the summer. However, this is also, in my opinion, a great fall autumn palette as well, but I like it for the summer too, so I pulled it. All right, let's go to Menagerie. I've got the Pore. I've got two palettes from Menagerie. I just tried it this year, and I really think this is a really good summer palette. As opposed to the other one, I think the other one is a little bit more autumnal and a little bit deeper and darker. For some reason, this one speaks to me a little bit more in terms of being for the summer. I think maybe these tones, although you do have similar tones in the other one that I have the Feral. I just think there's something, like this is obviously in Africa, right? So you have something about that really hot heat that you get in Africa, and like the safari, and that to me obviously speaks summer because I'm not going to go there in the winter. So, you know, that kind of makes sense. And yeah, I think the shades are beautiful, and I think it's a little bit more of an interesting summer palette as opposed to some of the ones that I've already chosen. Because you've got the greens, you do have, you know, kind of some neutral leaning tones, you've got the pop of gold and a little bit of pink, but they all sort of are very cohesive in terms of building a color story. I really find a lot of inspiration with this palette. So this one for me, I definitely want to dip into again this summer because it's a lot of fun. All right, we've got two Colourpops here. This is the Flutterby, but it's not mauve. Are you ready to see what it looks like? This is what it looks like. How could I not pull this for the summer? Obviously it's very reflective, but look, you've got the rich reds, you've got the yellows. I added some depth there too to make it a little bit more interesting. And obviously you've got a little bit of pinks and purples. This is a really, really fun color story, and I really want to test it out this summer and play around with it because I think it would be a lot of fun. I don't know what you guys think. When else could you use this? I guess for autumn, but I think this is a summer palette through and through. So I definitely want to play around with it. And then I've got my last Colourpop to talk about today, which is the Sweet Talk. And this one I have changed, and it looks like this. So this one could definitely be more spring, but you know, spring is over. I haven't been able to use it. I want to use it. And I think for the summer, this could be another fun little twist as well. And I do like how subtle these shades are, because you've got the green, but they're more like the grungy green. You don't have like a really rich, like vibrant green in here. They're very much like grassy greens and like grungy tones. And the oranges, I would say the same. Aside from this one where you do have that pop of orange for a little bit of, you know, like vibrancy, it's all quite cool toned, I guess, in a way, and I like that. So I think as opposed to all the other palettes that I've picked for this summer, most of them are all warm tone. This is a little bit more cooler, and I think for the summer that would be really fun too. So I really want to test this out and play around with it. But again, I think it probably could be a nice fall autumn palette too. I'm really excited. It definitely leans more spring, but I haven't used it this spring, so we will use it this summer. Then last but not least, I actually haven't tried this palette yet. At the time I'm filming this, I haven't tried it, but hopefully by the time you see this video, because I'm filming quite ahead of time, because I am going to take a little bit of time off because I have my parents coming to visit us for a whole month. So I'm getting some videos like pre-filmed. But anyway, this is another palette from GlossGods, and I think this would be a really beautiful palette. It's called Look for Rainbows. It is technically a rainbow palette. It's an all shimmer rainbow palette, and it's, I guess, their version of it, and it's so stunning. I mean, I just can't. They have the most amazing shimmers that I've found out. So I'm really excited to test this out. A lot of them are duochromes. Some I think might be multi-chromes, but they don't look like anything in the palette, but when you swatch them, oh my goodness, they look so beautiful. I haven't swatched this one yet because I only just got this a couple days ago, but how could I not use this summer? Obviously it has a lot of blue to it, but the way I'm seeing it, from my view, there's a lot of warmth to these. They look quite cool tone in the viewfinder, but I do see so many different variations in like the tones and the depths of these. So I'm really excited to dip my hands into this and have some fun. And you've got these deeper tones down here, so you could potentially use this as a one and done palette and not have to dip into any mattes. I think I might test that out because some of their shimmers I've noticed have a pretty nice pigment to them in terms of like the undertones of it. They're not all really sheer. Some of them are more toppers than anything, but some do have some sort of base. So potentially these could be good bases, and then you pop these on over the top. I don't know, I'm really excited to play with this. So of course I had to roll it in to the palettes I want to use this summer. And that's it. That is it. I tried not to use the same palettes that I pulled for spring. There are definitely palettes that I pulled for my spring video that I could have pulled for this video, but I wanted to pull a new list, a different list, and maybe potentially palettes that I'm not already working on. Because obviously I have my Panda palette, which is a good summer palette, which is the e.l.f. Retro Paradise. And I have a few other palettes that could be good summer palettes, but I just don't want to use them. So I've only pulled the ones that I actually want to use this summer, which makes sense to me. And I think this was a lot of fun. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on all of the Colourpop color stories. I did actually do a video of rearranging them all, and I think that's already live on my channel. So if you missed that and you want to go see how I did it, then obviously ghosting is easier. Just pop them out, wrote the name on the bottom. But if you want to watch a video like that, I actually have it on my channel. But yeah, I did about maybe 10 palettes or so, something like that. It was a lot of Colourpop palettes that I changed, but I'm very excited about them. So yeah, obviously I want to test them out this summer. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.